And I guess in some ways I can see why there is an audience for that. I guess it's just I'm not it. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Just another struggling writer. The beleaguered author's one-stop shop for commiseration and hopefully inspiration. My name is Carrie Scher, and I am just another struggling writer. Today is the start of another reading vlog, and once again I am starting this reading vlog with an update on the current book I am reading, The Rage of Dragons. I know I've started the last 2 reading vlogs with this book, but I promise you I am almost done. I got to about 83% today. I read about 50 more pages and I have about 100 pages left. If you watched my last reading vlog, you know that I am so tired of this book. I'm so fucking tired of this book. And the only reason I am pushing through to the end is because it seems like such a waste of time and energy to read 500 pages and not finish it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And unfortunately, it has not gotten better since my last update. From the 70 to 83% that I read today, the plot has taken a little bit of a turn. And what is frustrating about this turn is that it just shows me all that we could have had in this book if we weren't so laser focused on writing the combat and demonstrating through swordplay Tao's progression from a nobody to a very fearsome warrior, which I found interesting as a side plot, but not as the entire plot. And now we're getting into there's political consequences going on for things that have been kind of brewing in the background that Tao has been kind of tangentially or like peripherally aware of, but hasn't been bothered to like care about unless it directly affects his quest for vengeance. And now the fruits of the like political machinations are coming to bear, and it's like, oh shit, and it's just like, man, we could have had all this up front and center, but instead we just spent 400 pages reading about Tao learning how to dual wield, and that's not interesting, at least not to me. I hate this. I hate coming on here and bitching ad nauseum about a book, but I really wanted to like this book. I like I said in my last video, I think there are lots of good things to like about it, like the setting and the conflict at the heart of like the government, which are again now becoming more apparent. The role that Tao's society has in being a colonizing force, and whether or not that is ever going to be reckoned with, that is very interesting, but again, only briefly touched on as a peripheral side, point to what Tao has going on. And I get it. He's got a goal, and it's very personal, and it has nothing to do with politics or the greater picture. And I guess in some ways I can see why there is an audience for that. I guess it's just, I'm not it. My goal is to continue reading 50 pages a day. So by Wednesday, I'll have it finished, unless the last 100 pages just fly by. But because of how much I am struggling with, I had to force myself to read 50 pages. I had half an hour at swimming lessons and I read 25. And then I came home and I was like, oh, I would much rather play a video game or get in bed or work on writing, but I have to read at least 25 more pages, and damn it, I did. But that is kind of where I'm at with this book, where I'm like, I have to read 50 pages today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, so that I can finally mark this off on my spreadsheet and in Goodreads as finished, and I can give it a rating, and I can, stop talking about it and stop thinking about it. So there we are. I'm to the climax, and again, I'm still just so baffled that I have to force myself to get through it rather than just quickly flipping the pages like I normally do at a climax, which just goes to show you how unfeeling I am towards this whole book at this point. But there it is. I will update you tomorrow. I would not be surprised if I did end up just finishing it, but with everything else going on, I would also not be surprised if 50 pages has to be pulled out of me like teeth. So we'll just see where we're at tomorrow. Hello everyone. It is now Sunday afternoon, and as I anticipated, the family issue that I mentioned earlier this week did end up coming for my neck and taking up a lot of time and attention and really just mental energy. so that when I was coming home after my job, I just really didn't have a lot of spoons left to be creative or film or even do a lot of reading. So this video is going to be a little bit shorter because I just didn't get a lot of reading done. The good news is I did end up finishing The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. I didn't finish it on Wednesday. I think I ended up finishing finally on Friday. And I'm going to be honest, my opinion of this book has not really changed because of the ending. I did like the ending. I think that the political things that were going on and that side of the world being explored was interesting. And my problem is that it just took up until like the 80% mark to talk about it or explore that aspect of things in any detail. And because the book didn't really make us care about it, because Tao was so focused on his own personal journey of revenge and developing as a warrior, it felt hard to care about, the climax. And so it got to a point where I was just flipping pages, just trying to get it done, and I was not invested at all. And so unfortunately, I think I'm probably going to give this book, I've been sleeping on it a few days. I was thinking about maybe a 3, but really for me, I think it is more like a 2.5. And again, that just goes back to how repetitive it was, how like the story just cycled over and over and over from the inciting incident at 25% until the climax at about 80%. It was Tao fights, he sucks, he discovers a new thing, he gets better. Tao loses again and he discovers a new thing and he gets better. Tao decides he's not strong enough and discovers a new thing and gets better, and just over and over and over until we get to the climax and we are blindsided by these political things that are going on that end up affecting him. And even in the middle of all that, he is so driven by his own personal goals and personal revenge and personal relationships that the author has to put us in the heads of other characters to get us to care about anything else. And that wasn't exciting. I didn't love jumping into a new character's head just because, Tao couldn't bring himself to give a fuck. That didn't really work on me. I still didn't give a fuck. And for that reason, I'm probably not going to be picking up the sequel, even though that side of things, the political stuff that's going on and the potential story that this could be in the sequel, I just don't trust that the author is going to change his modus operandi and write anything different. I think because of the way that this is set up, I think that the sequel will probably be a lot more of the same, where there's a little bit of story at the beginning and then it's a lot of fucking combat in the middle, and then we just quickly wrap things up at the end or set it up for the trilogy. I think it's supposed to be a trilogy. And I just don't want to read that again. I don't. I just read 524 pages of what was 80% combat, and I just don't care, unfortunately. I can see where this appeals to some people because it is a very personal journey for Tao. It is very, very narrow in focus because he is narrow in focus and we are in his head for the vast majority of this book, and he literally excises from himself and from his personality anything besides revenge. And the thing is, there are kernels of that are so good. The ramifications for his outside relationships, I loved that, but it just wasn't very deeply explored because, again, we're in his head and he doesn't care. He doesn't care that it's damaging his relationships. He doesn't care that he's turning himself into someone that's completely unrecognizable to the people who do still know and care about him. He doesn't care about, what it means. He doesn't care about the sacrifices that he is making on behalf of others for his own personal revenge. He is just so laser focused. And like I said, there are elements of that I want to like, but because we're being told this story from his perspective, there's no room in the narration to care for the reader to learn or care about anything else because he doesn't. And it just got really tiresome. Really, really tiresome. I should not be at 80% in the thick of the climax and going, oh my God, I still have 100 pages left to read. It should not take me 5 days to read 124 pages. At the end of the book, when usually you're flying through things so fast, it just became another thing that I was dreading to do, which is the other reason why I didn't get a lot of reading done this week. Is instead of it being an escape, it was just another task that was, on my checklist of things to do, and it wasn't appealing in any stretch of the imagination. So that's where I'm going to leave it for this week, because again, I didn't really get any other reading done, and I feel like I've pretty well enumerated my thoughts on this book and my many, many updates about it. Next week, I am looking forward to getting back into something of a routine now that this family matter is kind of settled, and getting back to normal, which for me is going to work and reading and writing and filming and taking care of my kids and having this space to be creative, which unfortunately that has been vanishingly rare over the last couple of weeks and even months. So thank you so much for bearing with me during this unexpectedly trying time and dry spell that I've been going through. I really do hope, and I know I've been saying that for weeks and weeks and weeks, but I really do hope that I am going to be getting back into what is, my routine and my normal, and what I know I am capable of accomplishing and doing, and what I want to be doing and accomplishing. So in my next video, I think I'm going to be doing either a tier ranking of all of my quarter 2 books, or I'm just going to do just a regular quarter 2 wrap up, because I haven't done a wrap up in a while because I just haven't read that many books. But either way, I'm going to talk a little bit about the books that I read from April through June. Not as many as that sounds, but I hope you look forward to it, and I will see you then. Bye.